Alright, what is going on, everybody? This is Treasure MC, and the video that I posted not too long ago of showing off all of my Spawn action figures, well, it is now outdated, because we have since gotten a new Todd McFarlane Spawn Ultra action figure. Today we are looking at the Mangler, who is a big bad wolf, or he's also this. I don't know what language that is, but yeah, he's also this. So there you go. He is from Series 7, and if y'all have been following the channel for a little while, you know that I actually have all the rest of Series 7. So I have Zombie Spawn, Scourge, Salmon Twitch, Spawn 3, Crutch, and Nobody. So now I have the Mangler, which means I now have all of those guys. So I will be posting a video where I rank all of the Series 7 figures, because why not? So we also have Series 6. I don't have any of them. Series 5, I have half of them. Total Chaos, I have all of these guys right here. And then we have a bio here for the Mangler. So this is English, so if you'll want to read that, there you go. And then if you speak, again, I don't know what language that is, but if y'all know what language that is, there you go. So there's that. I'm kind of curious of what that is, because I don't know. But then we have some instructions here on what you can do, not necessarily with the figure, but with the thing that he comes with. So let's take a look at this guy. I think this guy is really cool. And I got this guy from my fiance. Shoutouts to Honey MC. She got this for me as a gift. So as far as comparisons go, you can see that even with a 1/10 scale figure, so he actually has some size to him, which is kind of interesting. It's like, this guy's supposed to be 6-inch scale, this guy's 7-inch scale, but they're actually not too dissimilar. But then I feel like the comparison that actually makes sense is to have him up against Spawn 3, which is a very cool figure. But yeah, you can see that even still he has some size to him, which is pretty cool. So as far as how much size he has to him, let's find out together. He stands, let's say, to the top of this spike, because that's the tallest point of the figure, let's say 7¼ inches, give or take. And if we flip that around to metric, he is, let's say, just under 19 centimeters. So this guy has some size to him. I guess we'll talk about this first. Instead of going over the accessories last, we'll go over it first, because this is the only thing that he comes with, and I've been having kind of a hard time to get this guy to hold it consistently, so we'll just take that out of his hand for now. So we'll look at this first. It's supposed to be a staff, or a sword, or a spear, or an axe, or whatever you really want it to be. It's supposed to be a weapon, but I could also see this as a walking stick. You basically carry it like this. So it's got the skull on here, and the skull came out of the package separately. So there you go. You can see it's got an eyeball still in there, and yeah, I like the bone texture and all of the ridges along the outside to have it seem like it's kind of cracked, but then it's also like formed together the way that skulls actually are. At least I think so. I don't remember too much of high school anatomy or anything like that, but yeah. So got a horn on there, and then you got like a little sever right there of where it was disconnected from the spinal cord of whatever this used to be. So that's kind of interesting. But then the staff itself, if you actually take the skull out, you could actually just have it like this, and I think that actually looks pretty good. So you got this spike up there on the top, and then you have like this thing that goes through it. That's kind of like a weapon, so it's like you took this metal thing and just shoved it through here, and that's like, there you go, I now have an axe, and I can chop up more than wood, so there you go. And then you got some grooves on there to make it look like it's made out of wood. I do like the legs on there. Again, it's supposed to be kind of like a claw that you can just put the skull in there, basically like that, or on the side, but I actually kind of like it like this. And you can, like I say, you can kind of hold it more like a staff, but then you could also have it be like, more like an axe, and just have it come down like that, because you can't really do that if you're holding it this way, because then it would be kind of like that, and that's kind of weird. But yeah, now you will notice that there are these pegs on there, and that's because in either of the Mangler's hands, I don't know how well you can see it, but he actually has a peg hole in there. So you can just kind of plug it in there, and then you just kind of work it around his fingers here to have him hold onto it. Just kind of like how you saw. But it's a bit of a pain for me to get this guy to hold it, so I'm not going to bother with that. Besides, it gets kind of in the way of the articulation. So you saw what he looks like holding it, but there we go. You kind of get the idea again. So as far as the actual figure goes, I really like this detail. This is definitely a wolf design, like a werewolf designed by Todd McFarlane, because I'm a big Todd McFarlane fan. You could probably guess that based off of the kind of videos that I got, but yeah, this definitely looks like a werewolf designed by Todd McFarlane. Now, another thing is I tend to like when I think of like monsters and that kind of thing, I tend to think of them like this, where they're like super hunched over and then their hand is like kind of like this, just kind of sticking out like that. So I think that that looks really cool. I do like the color there, how it's kind of like I don't know what you would call it, like a dark gray, like a dark gray for like the main color, but then you have like a lighter gray for the Malbolgia M there on the inside there, so that's pretty cool. And then you have a similar kind of color with the fur around the face there. Excuse me. I like the green eyes there. The green eyes definitely look cool. It makes them look more like a spawn. And then you have kind of like a purple for the inside there of the mouth. I think that looks really cool. I like the teeth. The teeth look really good. And then what you could also do is you could have him with his mouth closed. So you could have him go like, like that. So I actually like a bear with his mouth open. I think it makes him look more intimidating, but yeah. So it's definitely a thing. And yeah. So I like the spikes that go along his back. It's a similar kind of style to the skull here, but as you can see, it's a different color. This is, I guess, more of a white color, and this is more of a tan color. I'm not entirely sure. Not the best with colors, but yeah. So this kind of goes along up his back and then onto the top of his head there. So that's pretty cool. And then I do like the texture there of just the fur, that it actually looks like it's just a whole bunch of fur. This is kind of all over the place, so I like that. You got some more spikes up here on the knee, and then also back here on the, I guess that's the ankle, or I don't know what this is. But yeah, and then you got some fingernails that look, they actually look kind of clean compared to the spikes. Which is kind of interesting, but yeah, so he's got his fingernails and he's got his toenails too. So that's kind of cool. And then you also have on the back here, you have his tail, and he actually came in the package with his tail like this, just so he could fit in there. But what you can do is you could just rotate it around, and now it actually fits the sculpt. So I think it's interesting that can move, so you could have him like wagging his tail. So it could be like, what is it, boy? He's like, yes, I'm excited. I get to wreak havoc or something. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, so there you go. And then something that I noticed when I got this guy out of the package is this thing. And he has a little skull on there on his backside. So I think that's really interesting. I'm not entirely sure why that's there. I personally don't like the look of it, but then again, I could just have him displayed like this and you can't even see it. So there you go. And as far as articulation goes, like I said, his mouth does move like that, so you can have him talking. And then it does also turn a little bit. Doesn't turn all that much, but it does turn a little bit. It doesn't really go up and down, it just kind of goes off to the side there. And then for the arms, you might have noticed that his left arm is kind of like twisted in like that. I can't really get it to move from that position all that much. So I can't really get it to move up. There is so what would theoretically happen is that this is a shoulder joint that would turn all the way around. And then this is a single jointed elbow that can move. And then the wrist has a swivel. So there you go. But that's about all I can get this arm to do. I can't really get it to move. But with the right arm, you get more of an idea there. So the right arm, it can move, it can move around a little bit. So there you go. And then you do get a single joint for the elbow, so that gives you an idea for how much range it can have. It's not a whole lot, but there you go. Then you do get a single joint. You get a pivot for the wrist, so like that. And then that's about it for the arms. And like I said, I cannot get this one to move, like hardly at all. Like that's about all the range that I can get. So it's not much. And then for the legs, speaking of range, they don't really move a whole lot. They can go back about that far, so it's like, here's the neutral pose, and then they can go back. And then they can go forward, basically like that much. So it's like they can go like that. So He can walk in a very weird pose, and that's about it. And no, they can't move from this position of it being crouched like that. He is perpetually crouched, looming over everything. So there we go. Except for characters that are taller than him. But anyway, so yeah. And then like I said, the tail does it does have a swivel, so the tail can move. And that's about it. So don't expect a ton of articulation from this guy. But then again, this figure's from 1997, and I think you can tell by the sculpt that it's like, yeah, he's probably not going to move a whole lot. And you would be right on that. He doesn't really move a whole lot, and especially with his left arm, like, I'm not even sure what's going on here, because he did come in the package like that, with his left arm kind of bent in like that. And I can't really get it to move, so, yeah. I mean, his right arm can move, but that's about it. But, yeah, so, anyway, that is the Mangler. So, you can decide here, like, what do you value more? Like, are you all about the articulation? If you are, this guy is not for you. This guy is definitely not for you if you're all about the articulation. Now, I personally don't mind it all that much, because I knew going into this, it's like, okay, this guy isn't going to be able to move a whole lot, but he's got a really cool sculpt. I really like the sculpt, and the accessory, like, even though it doesn't really make sense for him to be holding this, it's still cool to have. So yeah, I personally like this guy. I would recommend him if you're into collecting monsters and that kind of thing, or you just like the classic Spawn figures. But even like I showed you earlier, like, he's not too small compared to 7-inch scale figures, which is more or less what McFarlane makes now. So it's like, this guy could still be cool to pick up. But yeah, so that's about all I got to say for this guy. So if you enjoyed this review, you like the Mangler or anything like that, do be sure to leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you think of this guy, or really anything else y'all want to talk about. Then if you want to see more content like this, then do be sure to subscribe, because I've reviewed, like I said, the rest of Series 7, so if you haven't checked that out, go ahead, and stay tuned for my upcoming video. It's not really a review, it's a video where I'm going to be ranking all of Series 7, which includes this guy and all the other ones. But that's all I have for today. So other than all of that, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.